or something, somebody hurt me on the street last year. Yeah. Agree with that.
No, we got to
Like cancer, I used to worry about.
Hey, how's it going?
Doctor advice, she's trying to the one that, has that issue. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
It is 6 p.m. Today is Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. This is the regular scheduled meeting of the City Council of the City of Williston. Mrs. Wright, would you take the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Robinson,
Here.
Council President Head,
Here.
Vice President Robinson. Here. Councilmember Cox,
Here.
Councilmember Jones. Here. Councilmember Ross.
Here.
City Manager Jackie Gorman. Here. City Attorney Fred Coberlin.
Here.
City Clerk Latricia Wright. Police Chief Dennis Stroh.
Here.
Fire Chief Lamar Stiegel.
Here.
City Planner Laura Jones. Here. Airport Manager Denton Stiegel.
Here.
And Deputy Chief Terry Bavard.
Here. Okay, thank you. All right, if you will, please stand with us and join us in the prayer and pledge led by the Mayor.
At the start of this new year, Lord, we come to you today asking for your wisdom, for your strength and power to be constantly present within us. We pray that you would make us strong and courageous for the road ahead. We pray for your protection over our families and friends and our first responders and our military here and abroad. We place before you the disease present in this world. We turn to you to bring healing to those who are ill, protect those who are most at risk, and rid us of this deadly disease. We ask for your hand to cover us and keep us distant from the evil ones who surround us, and that we would be safe in your hands. Lord, we pray that you would provide your guidance for our national, state, and county leaders, that they would do what is best for the people in our country. Provide your wisdom to the council in this new year, and those who will be serving. Lead and guide the council tonight as they make decisions for our city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Item 1 is additions, deletions, changes, and approval of the agenda. Council had a chance to review the agenda.
There are no objections. I would move we accept the agenda as presented.
Excuse me, Council President.
Yes.
I need to do a addition.
Oops.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Discussion about city credit card application with Drummond Bank.
Okay, where are we putting that?
We're gonna put that under new business, and it can be item number D.
Okay.
And I amend the motion to say as revised.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda as revised. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Item 2, this is the first of 2 chances tonight for public participation. If someone from the audience would like to speak, if you could come up to the podium, please. State your name and city of residence. You'll have 5 minutes to speak, and please, if there's something you want to speak about that's actually on the agenda, wait until that item comes up. If anybody would like to speak, please come forward.
Good evening, everybody. Marvin Johnson. I got a business here in Williston. I just running on to thank CJ, he's not here. I thank all the council members for a brought a concern about the paving and potholes. And I really want to thank everybody for a fine job, and we can all work together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak? Aaron, did you check and see if there's anybody online?
Anyone online would like to speak? Nobody.
All right, item 3, consent agenda. This consists of the council minutes from December 8th, 2020.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. All right, item 4 is old business. We'll start with item A, staff and board and counselor updates. We'll start down with Mr. Ross. Do you have any updates for us, and we'll go around the room.
No, they're not. Good, sir.
I'll make yours.
I'm not dancing. It may be my turn, but I'm not dancing today.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't believe I have anything.
Okay.
I have one question here, and, Ms. Wright, has the amendment, been done, and is it ready for the, March 2nd election? Everything are okay with Tammy and whatnot? Good? Okay, thank you. Good deal. Very good, thank you, that's it.
Okay. Mr. Robinson? Mr. Cox? Ms. Gorman, you're up.
Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. There I am.
Oh, now.
Okay, just a couple things. Our RFQ is out for collections and due on the 8th of January. I've had 6 responses.
Wow.
So we're excited about that. I did put in front of you some information, trying to do some clarification for our Human Resource Director position, but I would like to just table that until the next meeting. The staff's going to regroup on that a little bit. There's been some discussion, as you know, that happened before I became city manager, so I was like oblivious to a lot of it that went on, and I had to go and research to try and remember how we got to where we were. But now that the position's been filled for this short a time, we're starting to realize that maybe there needs to be some other changes. So staff's going to come together, and we're going to come back to you at the next meeting. Because once we get that finalized, we have to understand hours and position, and we have to adopt this by resolution, because that wasn't done, and that usually clarifies everything. So I want to get it done and bring it back to you whole, with the budget understood and how we're paying for what. So that's where I'm at with that. And so just, yeah, I mean, you have information if you like, but if you'll disregard it for now until the next meeting, that'd be great.
Also with the job description?
Yes, part of the resolution is a job description, a pay grade, so it can be adopted into the HR manual correctly, and that there's a budget appropriation that fits it. So I think we have to regroup on that a little bit.
Okay.
So we're gonna do that. Other than that, Happy New Year, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Copeland, you look ready to speak.
No, sir.
Okay. Great. Ms. Wright, anything? Chief?
Okay, I'll turn it over. Just to let you know that, the Martin Luther King Parade will take place at 11 o'clock, Saturday the 16th. It's going to be more or less a caravan. It starts at City Hall and ends at the Cornelius Williams Park. We'll be able to pull it off with all of our staff, our reserve officers, Ocala Police, Florida Highway Patrol, Levy County Sheriff, and Marion County Sheriff. This particular parade takes 54 people to meet DOT requirements to perform. The other thing that has been talked about is that the COVID shots, the health department was trying to figure out how to distribute the shots, and one time they was talking about doing a drive-through clinic at Cornelius Williams Park. They talked to the city manager, and they talked to me also. They have regrouped because in some of the areas they're doing it, like in Orange County, it's almost like Black Friday. The people were showing up the night before and sleeping outside. They had over 700 last night at one location in Orange County. And some of them are getting ill from being out all night. So they're regrouping. They're doing them totally by appointment only, 65 and over. at the Levy County Health Department in Bronson. They're currently, out of appointments until next Monday, and anybody's interested in calling next Monday to try to get an appointment with them.
Okay. Thank you. Chief Steele?
I'm good.
Anybody else? Okay. We will, Mr. Zamoski's out, right? Okay. Item B, under old business, discussion with possible action, city-owned property in Bronson.
Yes, sir, that was mine. Back in, well, it's been a while since you guys directed staff to advertise that 30 acres. I believe it was 30 acres. Anyway, and we didn't get a good response when we advertised that property for sale, so in the minutes it said if you didn't give a response to go with a realtor. So I'm ready to go with a realtor, but I need to RFQ for those services. Basically, for what I understand, what we're looking for is broker fee and a good faith estimate on what the broker fee could be on that, and because all qualifications are the same. But I need to go through that process per purchasing policy, so I'll be doing that soon.
Okay.
So that we can decide, get that property back on the tax, somebody's tax rolls, so. And that's all I have on that, if that's okay with you. I just wanted to make sure you all didn't have a problem with me going forward.
Any comments or questions on that? Everybody know what we're talking about? Okay. All right, thank you. Item C, under old business, discussion with possible action, Cornelius Williams Park, Jackie Appling.
Good evening, everyone. I'm asking this,
Thank you.
when you pass something out to the council.
Well,
I think,
thank you.
Officer would like to say something first. So,
Mike Rose, Williston Police Department. I just want to thank the board for the movie night at Cornelius Williams Park. Thank Ms. Jackie and her committee, as well as Ms. Wright, for an outstanding job. The event, it was cold. I'll just tell you, it was cold. But it was so nice to see the young folks enjoying the park, enjoying the movie, as well as the adults. Everybody having a good time, and it was my honor, as well as other officers from the Williston Police Department, to be a part of that community event. And I just want to thank the board for moving forward with that. I think that was something very positive for our community, and I thank you all for that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
and I will keep this brief. Good evening, as I mentioned. I'm just gonna just piggyback off what Officer Mike said. Just a quick update. I presented the board with the list of committee members that we mentioned from the last meeting. Great. And this will be revised and additional people will be added. They kind of give you just an outline or start that was asked for the last meeting. Just a briefing on the movie night. The movie night again was a success for a start of future projects at the Cornelius Williams Park. It gave the committee an opportunity to address those three areas that we were mentioning and have mentioned each time that we presented before you all. The utilization of the park. There was a lot that we had to do, but the board helped us work through all of those. There were so many resources that helped with the paperwork and helped with the completing the timeline, getting on the calendar. And I thank you, and I know the committee, thank you from the bottom of our heart for getting all those things in place. Those are things we wouldn't have known who to go directly to. But all the guidance with the complete board allowed us to get everything in place the way it should be, and that's what I'm hoping to see in the future. Thank you to the patrol for patrolling it. As he said, it was dark, it was cold, but having the patrols out there made me feel safer on everybody else. But we felt a lot safer having the police department out there and the fire department out there. Those are resources in Williston that we feel need to be at an event, just in case that unfortunate thing happens. They were there for us, and the kids enjoyed the fire truck and the police cars. So again, thank you to all those groups in the community that jumped in on that situation. Accessibility to the park. The front entry, I think Ms. Laura found out that it's really dark up there, trying to get people in the park. But that was one of those things we were addressing, the necessity of how to get into the park, the lighting. That's one of those things that the committee will be working on, electrical outlets. We ended up having to be at the very far end of the park, which is even darker. So, again, but everybody just enjoyed it, and we worked with what we had. Again, thank you to everyone. The bathroom situation, porta potties, they were there and they worked. And again, the bathrooms weren't ready, but that did not stop us. We had resources that helped to get the porta potties, and that just still there for that. So just like everyone's continued to work on that. Designated parking areas, we found out what works and what shouldn't, where people should be parking. There were times where we had to drive on those spaces to get the spots to where it needed to be where. And so again, the parking areas, working on that area is something the committee will. The gates and how to get into the park. Those were all, again, we were able to look at those areas and see how those areas can be addressed. The back gate, how would you use that if you had a bigger activity going on? Again, those are all things that are mentioned in the committee and mentioned that we have addressed. Repairs of the bathroom, again, the porta potties worked and they were used. Safety, the lights. But again, we had flashlights. We had a great time. We really did. The committee will take a tour, and I've worked with and talked with Mr. Martin. I've walked around out there myself, just because that's just me, I'm curious. But just touring the park to see what's there, to see what's needed, you know, from the wooded area to up front near the car lot that's there. Just walking around, it's so nice out there. That's why no walking trail would be great. And like I said, all those things lead from one thing to the next is what the committee will be addressing. Volunteers, we had tons of volunteers that showed up. Volunteers and donations, and people were willing to do things, asking what labor they could do. You know, and you get people that want to do free labor, that's just like a play. You know, like, oh, I'll do it. I'm like, okay, you're on the list. But the community, there's groups of people out there, there's groups that are willing to say, we'll go out there, we'll paint, we'll go out there, we'll shovel, we'll dig, we'll do. Again, to relieve CJ in that group of those extra things is the way the committee is coming across. The guidance and suggestions from CJ and what we need to do and how we can improve. All of those are resources that were from the council and from the community that was in that. I couldn't have guided myself through without myself, without all the backing that I've been given. So again, I thank you all for hopefully allowing us to form this committee as a foundation. Ways to improve not just from the Williston Park, but all the parks in the community using the same format or the same guidelines. Because we need the resources, and you all, everyone in the council has those, you know, you experts at those things that we're allowed to come to. Ms. Wright jumped in, and like I said, she knows I'm one that, if it's paperwork out there that needs to be done, she makes sure I get done. So, and I just want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for that. And attached, I have just a vision, and it just kind of gives you that vision out there of those things. And it's not professionally done, it's that kindergarten teacher thing coming in, but it kind of gives you that little vision of what the things that could happen and will in the future happen at that park in Middle Park. And we have just a quick, my daughter helped me to put together a quick presentation, PowerPoint presentation, to give you all just a view if you've never seen that park in that area out there. So, yeah. It won't hold you guys long. Just like to open everybody's heart up on 2020 and say, oh, okay, this is what we can do, and this is what we're looking for. And this is my daughter Erica, and like I said, she helped me pull together all this technology kind of stuff. Ms. Connie, you have anything to say?
You've given us a great start with, you know, the movie night, and I want you to really, really please consider everyone on the board how important this is, not just for East Williston. Now we want to call it East Williston because it's Williston to me, and it's for everyone. So please, just keep that in mind. Let's do our best, please, to try to make this a wonderful, beautiful park for everyone. I like to see you guys out there. I like to see my family out there. So let's just try to make this happen, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How many were in attendance at the movie night, do you know roughly?
About 35 to 40 people.
It was cold that night, I thought about y'all.
But the donation of blankets and those things that people just donated, and the kids were just like, it was the perfect weather for December.
Yeah.
Albert Fuller,
live in Williston, and I just wanted to say that this was a great start. I don't want to prolong the time, but I do want you all to consider officially saying this is the committee that will begin to work for improvements in that park, Friends of Williston. And so as you think about it, I don't know if that's going to be brought up tonight. I don't think that that was a proposal tonight, but the fact is that we do want you all to seriously consider making that a group, a volunteer group, that will do a lot of the things that the city may not be able to do. And so just keep that in the back of your mind as we move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask him a question?
Sure.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time or after. We talked about them becoming, a nonprofit group, Friends of. Have they given any further thought to that?
Well, we haven't necessarily met to do that because we're talking about holidays.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the first thing on our agenda is actually to begin to look at starting a nonprofit group because we need to be able to collect and manage funds.
And that's what you want to hear from us, that we are in agreement with that.
Right.
I mean, obviously you could do that if you wanted to with us or without us, in my opinion.
We could, but
you
we
wanted
would
to
like to
endorse
be
that.
recognized by the city.
And Ms. Jones, the investigation, at the very end of the last meeting, you said something kind of stuck in my head, said, what if another group comes up and says, I want to be a committee for this park?
Right.
And that's why I figured we would get something that would get us closer to
Good.
that point.
That's wonderful. And it is good to see names on
Yes,
paper.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And know who your volunteers are and the participants.
And we'll try this one momentum PowerPoint and we have to wait till I don't want to promote anyone.
Mr. Carson, it's freezing in here. Where is he?
Could you switch blankets?
I mean, it's blowing air conditioning. Yeah, I don't necessarily need a heater, but I don't need air conditioning. I know, it's on, I swear.
How's it doing?
Huh?
How's it doing?
Like a whirlwind.
There, we can see the slide, it's just.
Yeah, it's just not doing it full screen.
They want advance. How about if you click them individually on the left?
Right, on the left,
Yeah, if you click the tabs on the left. I think they'll come up if you click on the tab.
They are, but it's not doing like it's supposed to. You just have to look at it on the right side of the screen, that's the slide.
There you go.
There you go.
That works.
Keep going on.
Are we sure this is the right PowerPoint? Oh, there we go.
And this is, that night, that Friday night, as you can see. Movie night? Yes. The first three pictures up top show the kids sitting out in the field on their blankets.
Good, and then just quit.
Go back that one where the circle, I didn't, there you go. There you go, thank you. I wanted to read it.
And the video does have talking and those things, just addressing each slide, it's just technical, difficult.
Huh,
So Mrs. Tricia is able to keep that lower up if you wish them to.
thank you.
I'll just leave my little superwoman dress strap with her. If that's okay.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mrs. Applin?
So when's your next event?
Well, we're trying to get on the calendar for a cleaning day. We had that back in April schedule, and due to the pandemic and the virus, we had to cancel it. So we're hoping that will be a start, get everyone just out, just, gloves, whatever they need to come and work, and just getting together and having a cleaning day. Sometime in January or February, we're pushing it in the calendar.
Mrs. Gorman, will you be working with them with the group on how we move forward, or what's the plan?
I think, we're waiting on an opinion from the county attorney right now. There's two issues. First was the, law enforcement, we got through that. But the second is, because it's located in the county, whose ordinances, are in effect, and that's what we're trying to get. So far, we feel like it's county, operation, so at some point, you might have to be getting your special event permit through them, but I'm gonna coordinate that with them, at this point. So let us work through that process, and once we get that clean and cleared up, we'll go from there. Is that all right?
Yeah, but what does the council need to do to recognize this committee? I mean, do they need to form the nonprofit first?
I believe the committee can still go on. I think it's just gonna, what's happening with this legal opinion is it's gonna directly affect special events. Whose ordinances are gonna be in effect?
Sure.
So depending, I don't know where we're at with that, because I don't know their processes like I know ours. But either way, I'll be with you to work with them until you get that, if there's a transition that needs to take place. But it's still, we own it. So I feel like, it's our, park equipment and so forth. I think it's just what happens there is gonna fall under their ordinances, all the events, if it comes to that. So let us work through the who can do what where, and then we'll
I understand the event piece of it. I'm thinking along the lines of if we're gonna have a group of citizens that form this committee that we need to recognize, or somehow, what do we do? Do we appoint them? Do we just recognize them as a group that we allow to kind of
anything we do for improvements will be in our name. So if they wanna do it, they go through us to have it done. For example, if we did a grant, if y'all came up with a plan of what you wanted to see out there and we applied for a grant, it would still go through the city because it's our park.
because we own it.
Because we own it. It's just the operations that would, change a little with it, unless we did some kind of agreement with the county on it, but something has to get done.
But if they wanna form a committee so they can do
They
fundraising, they can do that. And if they want our endorsement, I think we should be able to give them that even tonight.
Right.
And then they can go forth and do the nonprofit.
Fred, you wanna chime in on that one? Okay.
That means he's okay with it.
There's nothing to chime in. If you wanna endorse the group, you can endorse the group.
Sure.
Well, we can at least say that we're in agreement with them going forward and forming a nonprofit so that they can do the fundraising they wanna do.
With this group and committee.
Right. Or is their startup committee?
Right, it
They may
states
add
in
other
their,
people.
states in the presentation, they may add or remove people from
Right.
the list, so.
So we don't have to nail it down to just this, they could still add and subtract people if they needed to.
This is the foundation.
And charter group.
The only other thing I would say to it is, with it being city property, regardless of whether it's in the county or the city, it's city property, it's a city park.
Right.
I am thrilled that we have a group of citizens that want to volunteer to improve anything within the city. Just be mindful that when there are things to happen out there, and I don't mean events, I'm not meaning special events. I mean, if you're gonna try to build a soccer field or try to make a walking path, we need to be involved because it's city property. So that's my only word there. Other than that, is the general consensus of the council to let them move forward? Be recognized as this committee?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right.
One quick thing to add to that, because you were talking about the events, and I want to thank you, President here. So we do improvements, I heard her talking about that, the improvements to the park. But I was looking at some of the benches out there, so do we need to like call you guys or submit something to say we're retaining those, or we're pressure washing because we're talking about lighting? And we're thinking of talking about solar lights, something that even wouldn't cost the city. That would be something we would do through our own fundraising. But is that something that we would have to try to submit? Because this is the foundation, this is the committee name that you have now. We're not going anywhere. We'll add, ones that want to come on, they come on. The ones that don't want to, they be off. But you have a list of people that you will contact at all times. But we do want to kind of do something, spruce it up. You mentioned a cleanup day.
I would suggest, my opinion on that is,
Yes,
and Ms. Gorman can add in, that an itemized list of improvements
Okay.
take place, work with the city manager on that, if they're big ticket items or big issues that need to come in front of the council, we may see them, otherwise Mrs. Gorman can work with you on that. Just for the cautious reason of,
Right.
we don't want somebody to go down to John Henry and paint the benches down there because they don't like the color either. You know,
Right,
we need to
right.
be informed and involved in what's going on.
If I may chime in, and with Laura, you've been working with Laura so far, but it's always good to start with a master plan on what you want to do. And then start keeping in touch with us as to how you want to proceed. That way we can guide you through that.
Okay.
Some things don't require, if you paint a bench, we don't care, but if you build one, that might be a different thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, let us help you with that. So just saying that, go through her first, if she needs me, she knows, if that's all right.
And
I'm
can I-
happy to work with you though, good to have you guys.
I'm sorry, can I chime in on one
Yes.
thing?
Yes.
The mayor normally does a cleanup twice a year, and I don't mean to speak for the mayor, maybe we could join in on the cleanup with them.
When it gets warm.
Thursday, we don't normally do it till March or April.
Maybe.
And then October, make rainfall.
Right.
Yeah, I have no problem with that at all. But, yeah, when it's a little warmer.
I'll get out there, sure, when it's warm. I don't do anything in cold.
It was tough on
We can make that happen.
All right,
Thank
thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
And happy 2021.
Good.
Okay, moving on, item 5, new business. Item A, assignment of lease, Inbuilt Enterprises, Inc., the Florida Corporation assigned and transfer unto Neron Enterprises LLC, a Delaware limited liability company. Airport manager, Benton speaking.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, this is the actual assignment of lease document we spoke about, at the last council meeting of the business that's moving into the inbuilt building. This is just the, official paperwork for it. Does everybody remember what I'm talking
Yes,
about?
this is one where we have to move the fence?
Correct.
Right.
We're still waiting on quotes for the fence. Between the Christmas and New Year's break, people have been slow to process information and get back to you. So I'm still waiting on a couple of quotes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or concerns with that?
No, sir.
Bring them on.
Looking through it. I don't have any issues with it, so. We're ready to move forward?
Sir?
Okay.
Nomination. Now, I don't see a resolution, but,
Yeah, there is
I
none.
think we can just pass it by general consent, I don't think we need
yeah,
a motion.
I don't know, but transferring a lease, we might need something. Coverline, do we need a resolution to transfer a lease?
There should be a resolution.
I have a copy.
It may not be written as a resolution.
Looking for it.
No number on our agenda, let's put it that way.
I have it.
I'm looking.
Okay, the resolution is 2020-81. But it's not in your agenda packet.
I have it.
It's not in the agenda packet? All we've got in the agenda packet, they've got my name signed on
No,
it.
but, yeah, I know,
Mr. Casey.
that's right, she was updating the dates and everything to 2021, because the original one said December.
And we may need to read the title into the,
I think we need to read the whole thing, since we don't
Ms.
have it.
Coberline, do you have it?
I just handed a copy to, Councilman Ross.
Is this just one?
Yes.
Those are the ones that were from before the other meeting got canceled, those are, they were.
so we had it in that packet, but we don't have it in this
They
packet.
Yes,
weren't
ma'am.
ready at the last meeting
Oh.
in December, but I know I spoke to Ms. Wright, and she had updated, she said she had updated everything to January 2021 for tonight.
I wonder if it's in the minutes. It's in the minutes, when I read it, maybe.
Because we need all that, so we can have the closing, which has been postponed.
Okay.
Of the,
who-
minutes,
It
page
is,
5.
it is minutes, but it's not a resolution.
Yeah, I don't have
Ms. Bill said. Give it to the press. It's very simple, we could read the whole thing, it's only a page and a half. It was in the last minute, but not noted by resolution.
Pass that, Mr. Copeland, please. Mr. Copeland, would you look at that and let me know if you think we should act on this resolution? This is the time to get it done, or what? I apologize, Ms. Bill, I didn't see it in the agenda, so I thought it was just
My
a
buyer's,
discussion item.
my buyer's anxious to, we're anxious to get the closing done on this, but everything got delayed because of the holidays and the canceled meeting.
Mr. President, as your the one that was sent on December 3rd. So it would be proper to act on it. If council desires to do so, all the supporting material was provided to the
Okay.
So all we have to do is read that. Yeah.
You'd like me to read the entire resolution?
It's up to the council's discretion.
Yeah.
City Council Resolution Number 2020-81, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the assignment of a lease with M-Bill Enterprises, Inc., Neron Enterprises, LLC, authorizing the City Council President's execution of the instrument and providing an effective date. Would anybody else like to see it?
Move resolution 2020-81.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve Resolution 2020-81. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Thank you. Item B, Resolution 2021-02, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, authorizing the City of Williston, Florida to enter into a lease agreement with Brian Hernandez, individually leasing property located at the Williston Municipal Airport, authorizing the City Council to approve the lease agreement and providing an effective date. Mr. Stegall.
So Brian Hernandez is an individual who has worked as an aircraft mechanic under another, or for a company out on the aircraft for a number of years. He has recently gotten his full certification as a fully licensed aircraft mechanic, and is starting to want to get out on his own and actually become an aircraft maintenance activity on his own. So this is an initial step for him. He's not ready to completely, jump all into it feet first. He just wants to secure a hard stand for future endeavors so that he can build a hangar in the next few years. So this is just I believe it's a 2-year lease, land lease, that at the end of that lease he can either choose to opt out, or he can choose to get a new lease with the intent to build a hangar.
Okay.
And currently, we do not have a maintenance activity on the airfield, minus a couple of individuals who do hit or miss work here or there. So having a full-time maintenance activity would be a good step in the right direction for us.
And currently, this is strictly a land lease.
Yes, ma'am.
So if he decides to build something, you'll be back?
Correct.
Okay.
This is hard stand number 15, it's .671 acres.
Yes, sir. It's not too far down the road from the well-built building.
Like they just the other side of
Correct.
Mr. Pruitt?
Yes, ma'am.
Of the Area 51?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Stegall on this?
No, sir.
Okay,
Need a motion?
I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve, resolution 2021-02. You want me to read the whole resolution?
I think I just read it.
Okay.
It's up to you.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, authorizing the City of Williston, Florida to enter into a lease agreement with Brian Hernandez, individually leasing property located at the Williston Municipal Airport, authorizing the City Council to approve the lease agreement and providing an effective date.
Second motion.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item D, under new business, city credit card with Drummond Community Bank.
Are we doing C?
Oh, I'm sorry, skip C. Yeah, I guess that was an important one.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Item C, discussion with possible action, city clerk evaluations. At the last meeting, which was forever ago, we were all asked to provide an evaluation for the city clerk for her 6-month review. If everybody would please pass those to me at this time. I have Mr. Ross's. And everybody has their name at the top of those. And everyone, before doing that, received the personal self-evaluation from Mrs. Rice. Anybody have any questions or comments on that?
I would just say it would be a hard thing for me to do, if I had to do it.
Self-evaluation?
Yeah. I know we all agreed at the last meeting that she needed to do it. It was a tough thing to do, I'm sure. I did like the goals at the bottom. It's always good to have goals.
Okay, so how we proceed from here, I'm sorry, is a little bit escaping me, but we have the evaluations along with her self-evaluation. Are those to be?
On the front of that paper, on the front of mine, it actually has some instructions that kind of said how to do it.
Get that.
I don't know if we went all the way through, or whether that's as far as it went.
Yeah, the process.
Did it say what?
That's what I was looking for, I meant to get it when I got here, but.
I'm not sure, we may have gone as far as it says to go.
The council president, number 5.
Council president will tabulate the results of the evaluation forms. The council president will summarize the results of the evaluation forms as submitted, including comments. A composite evaluation form and the city clerk's self-evaluation will be distributed to the council prior to the final evaluation meeting. The council will meet with the city clerk in open session to review the evaluation. This can take place at a special meeting or regular city council meeting. So, I will compile the information and the results of the evaluation, and I think we should have it on the next regular meeting agenda to address the evaluations and the self-evaluation, and for a final discussion on the matter. Is that good with everyone? Good. Okay, Mrs. Wright, would you have that on the next agenda, please? Okay. Sorry I didn't have that top sheet. Any other questions?
It was actually the sheet under the top sheet, so you I think this is the sheet I actually ripped off the top of it. So you kind of ripped it right off, so you may not notice
Okay.
it was the second sheet down.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. All right. This time then, we won't take any action on that. We'll discuss it at the following meeting. Good? Okay. All right, item D, city credit card with Drummond Community Bank.
Okay, several months ago, thinking too loud. Several months ago, we had brought to you all that we would be changing things with our credit card because Capital City, Mr. Whitman was still on the account. In order to remove him, we had to do a new application, and everybody agreed to go with Drummond Community Bank, since that's where we have our account.
Okay.
I was notified today by Ms. Hartley that I would need to get authorization from the council stating how much each individual limit would be on their credit card. So that's what I'm coming to the board today to ask if you all could approve each one of us that have a city credit card a limit. Like for instance, Jackie, her limit is 10,000. CJ is 10,000. Danny Wallace is 20,000. myself, I'm 2,000, Brooke is 2,500, Chief is 2,500, Terry is 2,500, Lamar is 2,500, Benton is 2,000, and Laura is 2,000. So I'm asking the council to approve.
If I may, I'm also working on a credit card policy to make sure everybody knows the rules. I'm putting it in our purchasing policy, but we do have a purchasing policy that has to be followed regardless of the limit, just so you know that. In everything that I see, people are purchasing through credit cards now because they're ordering everything online. It's really hard to go out and purchase, but they still have to adhere. Anything over 10,000 has to go to bid. This is, I know it sounds extreme for each person, but that's only an extreme emergency. They would do that one. However, it's your discretion how you want to set these limits. I just want to let you know we do have rules that could be attached to that, so
Sure.
it's not like free for all here. And it has to be budgeted.
Is that the current,
Right now, yes.
limits on each right now?
Yes, ma'am. And the only reason why Danny on is so high is because he does a lot of the
Oh,
purchasing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I have one also,
You have one also, I'm sorry. And what is your limit?
75,000. $100.
And does the overall card have a limit? I mean, there's a cap for the whole city. I mean, that's the way I'm used to a credit card being a total cap. Even for businesses, I'm used to it being that way.
Ms. Jones, I cannot answer that
Not
question.
sure?
I am not sure.
And I'm sure there must be a credit limit.
Yes,
I just wondered what it was. I guess if you added them all together, that's what it would be.
That's what it is, probably.
That's mighty high though, if you added them all together. What the credit limit on the total card is. The total, no, I don't have a card. No, it's just the total card. No, I don't want it.
No.
Okay, so the question is, we know the individual limit, but what is the total corporate limit available to the city on their card?
That far enough, I don't know yet.
Okay.
We're just not doing the application.
Okay.
In order for me to turn the application in.
Yeah.
Who designates the amount that each individual has on their card?
I think history.
Those numbers that she gave us are currently in place on the Capital City cards. I don't know who designated or who decided upon it at that time, but that's what it was and has
A while
been.
back was Capital City.
Yeah, so that's what it's been.
That's where we are right now.
And that's what she's asking for, is the existing amounts to stay in place.
Okay, how long has it been with, where it is now?
With Capital City.
Several years, probably, I think Scott Lippman got him shortly after he got here. So.
Was 7 or 8 years?
7 or 8 years.
And the only reason, again, why we're switching is in order to get Mr. Whitman off of that account, plus Capital City goes by each individual's credit score.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of the cities.
Correct.
Yeah,
So that's why we were going over the
Their
Drummond.
credit limit. That would be
That's why we applied with
That's
Drummond.
what
That's why we were applying with
the
Drummond.
current bank is doing, not where we're going.
Yeah, that's nice. That would affect their own personal credit union.
So I would be okay with the existing limits,
So would I.
and as long as we prove the total exposure doesn't exceed the aggregate of those individual limits. I mean, I don't know how you could make it less, and then that's gonna limit who can buy what, so.
I would go with the current limit, what I would do exactly.
So I recommend we go with the current limit, and the actual total exposure limit be the total of those.
If they'll allow it to go that high, that's
We're-
pretty high.
We're tightening up on these credit cards, so it has to be an extreme emergency to go very high, or they don't have any other option, and we have to clear that. So don't forget, it has to be in the budget,
are you suggesting we lower the individual limit?
No, I'm just saying, there's gonna be, we're tightening putting some rules to it, and making sure it's a policy gets adopted, so you'll be seeing that. Not that I don't trust anybody, that's not the point. But we just wanna make sure that we've got good policy in place that governs these credit cards. Again, that's the way the world now, everybody's ordering online, we get that. But you know, sales tax and all that
Well,
stuff.
if these have been out there for 7 years, I would hope we already had that
Yeah.
personally, but, I understand your point. So yes, please do.
Thank you. I'm just giving you reassurance that we're watching what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think right now the point in question is, are we concerned about what our total exposure limit is?
It should be online if you want to chime in.
I mean, if we have 20 and 10 and 10 and 75 and we're at $50,000-$60,000 worth of exposure.
Ms. Gorman wanted to know if the mayor wants a personal guarantee on each credit.
Can I answer that?
Sounds like they individually are if it's hitting their credit score.
When is the city attorney's evaluation due again?
No.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is if we have individual limits that total up to $60,000, are we putting a total limit of $30,000 on that, or are we gonna let it be whatever the total of all those individual cards is?
That was kind of my question.
So that at any time, we don't have a balance to exceed that certain amount. It could limit the purchasing ability in a situation where somebody did need to buy this and that and use them.
I think one of them would be Danny. Because sometimes it's like a revolving type purchase when he purchased some stuff, I don't know.
No, I agree, but what I'm saying is if 2 or 3 of them go out and use their card and run up the $20,000 limit that we have as a whole city, and then Danny needs to go use his $20,000 card, he can't. So in my mind, the total exposure, which was the question that came up, is how much could we be out at any one time? Individually, we know.
If everybody charged their limit.
Right. So I would say the total, in other words, we don't want Drummond to come along and say, well, we'll give you a $200,000 limit. Even though we got individual limits in place, we don't want that being exposure. It needs, to me, to be an aggregate of all the individual cards.
Do we have a corporate limit with Capital City now, other than a card limit?
I just know we have, each individual have a card limit.
But that's the only limit.
There's got to be a
It's on those
limit.
cards, that's the only limit. There's no corporate limit for the city.
That I cannot answer. I am not sure, that's going to have to be a different question.
It shouldn't be able to exceed the total of all the cards.
Correct, it doesn't.
But I'm asking, is it less?
We'll get that answer.
I would say though I would approve it tonight
Contingent upon
at
that.
the full amount of the card. Would be my personal.
Contingent upon the aggregate of all.
Of the total, yeah.
Okay, who's making the motion?
I would entertain a motion to that effect, if that's the council's wish. Or if anyone agrees.
What is the number?
Just the aggregate of all that she named earlier. I move that we move our corporate credit card from Capital City to Drummond Community Bank, with the limit named by Ms. Wright.
With the current limit?
With the aggregate of the total of all, no more than the total of all.
Yes. Second.
We have a motion, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Does everybody understand the motion? Mr. Ross, you good with that? Do you understand the motion, at least? All right. All right. There's no other discussion, we'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, move cards.
If I may, I have an update from Jennifer.
Oh,
Okay.
She said the total credit limit is $37,500.
37.5, I counted up 44.5.
So it's less than the aggregate of all the costs, and I'm fine with that, as long
Yeah,
as
she said that's, she
There's
said
a number.
total credit limit is $37,500.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Oh, she's listening online, good for her. That's the current limit?
Yay, yeah, 37.5.
And I guess just for curiosity, let us know what they say at Drummond.
Yeah, because we just approved the motion to go up to the total of all the cards. They may not want to go that high or
Yeah.
whatever, so
Okay.
we need to know
The
what it is.
maximum, that would be the maximum.
We'll get you that and
Yeah.
the policy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6, second chance for public participation. If anybody has anything they want to speak about from the public, now's your chance to come to the podium, please.
Anyone on the GoToMeeting, unmute your mic and speak up.
Nobody online?
Nothing.
Okay. Item 7, announcements. Anyone have any additional announcements? Ross, nothing? Mayor? No?
I can say thank you for Santa Claus, to the police, to the fire department, that was really cool, the parade that was all over
Oh,
town.
yes, that
I really,
was.
the kids in my neighborhood really enjoyed it.
I got a lot of phone calls wanting to know what was going wrong with the city.
We're gonna post the route next year, so everybody knows what's going on, and we actually had to call in the police department, trying to get ahead of Santa Claus so the kids could see Santa.
Yeah.
It only took us 2.5 hours.
It was fun, it was fun to
2.5
see.
hours, wow. I know we were, in our neighborhood, we were all Facebooking together to tell people that you were on the way, that you had left one quadrant and moving to the next one. So we were kind of letting people know.
All right. Anything else, staff?
No.
Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I moved that we adjourned.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anybody want to stay? We adjourn.
One thing, running around.
You did good, young nigga, I'm proud of you. Yeah.